If you love hydrangeas like I do, you're going to want to protect them from the frost so they can come back for you during the summer. In this video, I will be showing you how to protect your hydrangeas if you have them in pots. Let's go. If your hydrangea looks like this, it is not dying, it is going dormant, and that's not the most important thing. The most important thing you want to do is take a look at the buds, and these precious buds is what you want to protect from the frost. Now, one of the simplest ways is just to cover them up. I particularly like this mesh, it's breathable. So what you do is just cover up your hydrangea just like that. You can see through it so you can see what's happening in your hydrangea. Before I put my hydrangea or other potted plants to sleep, I make sure I get rid of all the old branches or leaves that may have fallen into the pot or any other debris. By doing this, I'm making sure that no critters or insects are living inside the soil when I put it away for the winter. I put my potted plants and hydrangea inside this greenhouse. The greenhouse stays outside all winter long. Now, if you don't have a greenhouse, you can put it in an unheated space like a basement or a shed or a garage. Just make sure that space is unheated because you don't want to encourage your potted plants to grow. You know the phrase, the more the merrier? That also goes for potted plants and hydrangeas as well. Another way to winterize your potted plants is to place them together outside in a spot that has radiating heat. I also try to avoid placing my potted plants in an area that gets too much wind. Strong winds can be the worst on your potted plants, more than cold. For that extra layer of protection, you can wrap your potted plants and hydrangea with an old blanket that you don't plan to use anymore. Now, garden gems, this is a really cool pro tip. I used to always worry whether my potted plants or my hydrangeas would survive over the winter months. Do what's called the scratch test. And you just scratch right here. If that is green, that means that your hydrangea, even though it looks like this, it is still healthy. And this is a limelight hydrangea, and it grows on what's called new wood. Now let's see what happens with the ones that grow on old wood. Now you can see for yourself, this hydrangea doesn't look as nice. All the branches look like they are completely dead and they are dried up, but don't be fooled because look at all that greenery. That is the way to decide and determine if your hydrangea is still doing well, if it has green on it, if it has buds. Another way to determine whether your hydrangea is doing well is give it a little nudge right there. If it's really firm into the ground, that means your hydrangea is nicely secured and firm and growing really strong roots. If it has some type of give, or if it's very loose, that means that you may have to repot your hydrangea. Guys, this is an example of a hydrangea in a pot that needs some extra tender loving care. You can see right here, that is very wiggly, right? That is dead. So what I'm going to have to do is repot this plant to make sure that it does survive. It was a tough stuff, but obviously it wasn't tough enough for these cold winters. But these plants, they can really get down to really cold temperatures. So it may not be the frost, it may be something else. So sometimes this is not the winter that is doing this to your plant. I'm going to have to repot to find out what is going on with this lovely tough stuff. So now let's talk briefly about pruning. If you're thinking about pruning your hydrangea, stop. You should not be pruning your hydrangea during the late fall and winter months. That will encourage your hydrangea to grow, and you don't want your hydrangea to grow during the winter months because it will be susceptible to frost and the cold weather. So put those scissors down. Now, what you can do is get rid of old branches or really weak stems that are crossing each other, but be careful. Don't go overboard because if you prune your hydrangea too hard, you may be pruning off those beautiful blooms. And lastly, avoid fertilizer. You don't want to be fertilizing your any plant during this time because that will encourage them to grow. Save the fertilizer for your potted plants during the summer and springtime. Now, there's some plants that can withstand the cold winter climates like New York, and it's heucheras. I love heucheras, coral bells. This is a coral bell apricot. There are two coral bells in here, and this is a taffy tart, and you can see that it is still nicely bloomed. I'm going to have to clean it, but this I keep in a pot all winter long, and the best part about it, it keeps its color. And here is another example of a coral bell. You can see lots of things. The hosta dead, but the coral bell still thriving. This is a pretty pistachio. So if you don't want to stick to the boring standard evergreens in your garden, heucheras, coral bells are a great addition because again, they keep their color all winter long. If you know of any plants that keep their color during the winter, let me know in the comment section. I really appreciate it because I could add that also to my garden during. Another plant that is in pots that you don't have to put in your garage and really worry about is grass. Guys, take a look at the hardiness. It is hardy down to -10 to -20 degrees. So again, you don't have to put this in a garage. These grasses are absolutely beautiful and they come back year after year and they hold their color during the winter months. I just wanted to show you how cold it's been getting here. I collect rainwater in this huge bucket, but take a look. It's already icy. Yep, ice, all ice. So that's how cold it's been getting. So if you haven't put your plants or your tender plants inside your garage or an unheated shed, you should start to do that right now if you're in one of those colder climates. Guys, on this channel, we're not going to be doing any gatekeeping here. We're going to show you the bad, the good, and guess what? The ugly. This is my peony garden. I have over 20 different varieties of peonies here. You can see it is a mess. Yes, it looks bad. But what I do is I just leave this peony garden alone and it comes back year after year for me. And the trick is that I make sure I wait until I know for sure that all of these leaves are completely dead. I do not cut them down when it starts to go brown or just a little brown. I wait until all the leaves are completely dead or close to dead. That way I know that the bulb is soaking up all that energy. So the takeaway is if you haven't gotten a chance to cut down these old stems and old flowers and leaves, it's okay. You have time because your bulbs will thank you for it. Now, I know some of you have been watching my videos, but you haven't subscribed yet. What are you waiting for? Join the family. I have lots of videos to show you in the next couple of weeks. And speaking of winter, it is getting very cold out here, and Mama would love to give you a lot more videos, but I don't want to freeze my little tushy off. So in the next couple of weeks, I will be doing a couple of series. One will be orchid care because lots of stores will be coming out with orchids, and you're going to want to watch that video to know how to take care of that beautiful orchid. And again, I'm going to be doing a second series on gardening inside your home. I'm going to be doing some herbs, so you're going to want to check that out. So lots of things coming and you don't want to miss it. And remember, gardens grow better with every video. So let's keep going.